You don't say. You got to be kidding me. There's no way this is true. There's no way this is true. Breaking news, everybody. Hot off the presses. I mean, this is very, very important news. I mean, it's not quite as important as the fact that the government still doesn't care about you. I mean, that would be breaking news. I mean, some breaking news would also be if Hillary Clinton became attractive all of a sudden. I mean, that'd be breaking news too. Or if we found out Donald Trump was actually bald and that thing on top of his head was actually a toupee. That would be breaking news. But it's nothing near as important as that, right? This is much more laid back. This is just college football news. Somebody's been lying to me. And I want to know who it is. I want to figure out who the liar is and hold this guy personally responsible for lying to me and to you for several years now. They've been lying to us, telling us, and everybody's buying it. Everybody's falling for the lie that the ACC is by far the worst conference in football. It's not even close. Bunch of high school teams. They're no good. I mean, Clemson plays a bunch of high school teams. The American Athletic Conference is better than the ACC, right? They've been telling us all that. They've even been telling us the Pac-12 is better than the ACC, right? They've been telling us that. You heard it. I've heard it. Some of you believe it. But the news that I'm going to bring to you today is that after 12 weeks of football, going into week 13, which means that almost every team in America has played at least 10 games. Some teams have played 11. That the bowl eligible teams after 12 weeks, the Big Ten has 8. The ACC has 8. The Big 12 has 6. The SEC has 6. And the Pac-12 has 4. Now, let's start with the Pac-12. Let's start from the bottom and work our way up here. Everybody's been telling us the Pac-12 is better than the ACC. If you go back this year, if you go back the year before this year, if you go back the year before that, if you go back the year before that, you could probably go back as far as 5 or 6 years. The Pac-12 has had the fewest bowl-eligible teams in that time period and the fewest bowl wins in that time period. And it's not even close. But somehow the Pac-12 is better than the ACC. The SEC, 6 bowl-eligible teams after 12 weeks. Now, hold on. Let me find my calculator. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know where I put it. I might need to ask one of you to borrow one. You know what? Forget it. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't know what this hell thing on my head's doing. I don't need it. I could do this in my head, I think. So here's how I'll do this. So 14 teams in the SEC. What's half of 14? Let's see. Minus carry the 1. So half of 14 is 7. Right? Half of 14 is 7. And they have 6. Less than 50% of the teams in the almighty SEC are even bowl eligible. They can't even win half of their football games. And you're going to sit here with a straight face and try to tell me, well, Pete, that's because it's a tough conference and they all beat up on each other. You can't tell me it's a tough conference when less than half of the teams in it can't even win half of their games. Not only that, the vast majority of these SEC teams, including the ones at the very top like Alabama and LSU, only play 9 Power 5 teams a year. 8 conference games, 9 Power 5 teams. 3 cupcakes. 25% of your schedule is cupcake. Clemson, on the other hand, and a lot of the other teams in the ACC, certainly the teams in the Big Ten and the Pac-12, I know this, play 10 Power 5 teams a year. Now, if you're going to sit here with a straight face and tell me that the SEC is that dominant over all these other conferences and they can't even get half of their teams to make a bowl game this year, I'm calling bullshit on that. Not to mention, I think the SEC, maybe it's the Pac-12, one of these two conferences, they might be tied for the crappy out of conference non-Power 5 losses. I don't know. But I don't think there's any team outside the SEC, maybe other than the Pac-12, that's lost more games to non-Power 5 teams this year than them. It's simple, folks. You've been lied to. And I'm here to resolve this lie and bring truth. May the truth set you free. And you're going to tell me, well, Pete, the SEC has all these teams in the top 10. Of course, they're the best conference. I mean, you've got LSU, you've got Alabama, you've got Georgia. I think Florida's right there outside of the top 10. And I'm here to tell you, fine. That's great. There's more than 2 or 3 teams in a conference, especially when you got 14 of them in there. So it's not a top-heavy debate. It's about the entire conference. And here's what I'll leave you with. And this is probably the most important thing you're ever going to learn from anything I say, especially in the confines of this particular video, is that any of those teams in the top 5, top 10 that have a chance to make a playoff national championship run are going to lose to an ACC team like they always do. Have a great day. Pigskin Pete. Check it out.